So Logan Paul, all I can really say about this guy is that he is definitely not one of my favorite human beings on the planet, but I have to give him a little bit of respect because when he went to the WWE, he was pretty good. He had some bangers of matches and he's a good worker. So I gotta respect, where respect is due. But that being said, I still think that he's a certifiable piece of garbage. I think that he has totally ripped off people even after he made it rich, which why? These crypto scams and everything, alleged crypto scams and his alleged involvement in other scams. I just don't understand why, when you're making that much money, why those are the types of deals that you'd be making. And then on top of it, he's trying to sell you this whole bill of goods or bag of goods. Whatever. I think it's bill of goods. But he's trying to sell you what his narrative is, where Prime is worth all of this money that turns out that it's not. They overvalued that company, which we might want to look into why all these companies got overvalued in the last 4 years. Wonder if anything has, And yeah, I'm not calling out, Democrats or Republicans on that one. They both suck. Like, what's going on there? What do we just not look into insider trading? Do we not look in, I know that crypto is a whole new, wild west of finance, but you'd think that maybe, there'd be some investigation into that kind of stuff. But I digress. Well, he is suing a prominent YouTuber who did a pretty good takedown on him, but it was in good faith because the YouTuber in question here is named Coffeezilla. He has a great channel. Definitely check him out. But what he does is he does deep dives into crypto scammers and anybody who has ripped, any consumers off. He's pretty good at that. But what he did is he made a docuseries about one of the alleged crypto scams that Logan Paul was part of, and he got a hold of him. And it seemed like everything was going well. It seemed like Logan Paul took the criticism pretty seriously, and then he was going to reimburse anybody that had, been taken. But lo and behold, nobody's gotten any refunds. No, he's still not. Well, now he went back to being like, well, no, I'm the victim here, because he was trying to blame it on some of his bad business partners. But with everything going on lately, I figured why not do a little deep dive into the situation with Logan Paul.
Logan Paul is suing me for CryptoZoo, only a year after he thanked me for it. Rather than pay back his victims fully, Logan would rather publicly humiliate himself in court by accusing me of defaming him. He's hired 5 lawyers to sue me, which he hopes will stop me from exposing him again. You see, only hours before this lawsuit was filed, I had reached out to Logan Paul about a new investigation into one of his companies.
The Illustrator card from Pokemon,
which has just been accused by the Canadian government of being a
It's so weird how one of the rarest Pokemon cards is not even an actual Pokemon. It kind of was. I think it was playable. Nerd stuff.
Layered
Sorry.
fraud in Canada.
Got a little.
I obviously had questions, but before I was able to get answers, Logan's team of lawyers showed up to silence me. We're going to talk about that. We're also going to go through this lawsuit. I'm going to tell you how to support us if you want, because while I didn't think I'd need help, I was wrong. But before we get to my mistake, let's start with Logan's. This lawsuit is not about Logan Paul getting defamed. Instead, this is about him trying to dodge accountability, victims, and blame anyone but himself for his problems, especially me. This lawsuit says Logan Paul wants to hold me accountable for my actions. But what actions are those? Holding him accountable?
See, this is kind of like taken from, I hate to say it, the book of Donald Trump, where it's like, you're defaming me. You're defaming me. For what? Reporting the news?
Ironic, because his lawyers claim Logan has learned to believe in the importance of accountability. But accountability for...
Is that from the Japan thing? If you know, if you know, you know.
Who?
I think everybody knows about that. Like, even parents of the kids at that time. Man, those kids have got to be in their teens now. Yikes.
Currently, Logan is fighting the victims of CryptoZoo in court, and now he's fighting the journalist who exposed them in the first place. Personally, I believe Logan has learned nothing from this except how to silence people with the law. But I won't be silenced, because Logan's lawsuit makes no sense. We're gonna go through it because from the beginning, there's problems. Logan's 5 lawyers tried to discredit me as a journalist. They paint me as someone who wanted money. They say I had a false and malicious narrative. But you know who doesn't believe that? You know who secretly praises me behind the scenes?
This journalist, YouTuber, crypto uncoverer guy named Coffeezilla, who's incredible, by the way. A very thorough, good-hearted, smart guy, did a deep dive into this project that I attempted to make called CryptoZoo.
See, and this is where it was like, if he was actually a genuine person, this would be fine. And this would be kind of cool where it's like, yeah, you know what? This guy called me on the carpet. I want to make it right. But
that's right. It's Logan Paul. He's the biggest enemy of Logan Paul's defamation case. Who knew? Because defamation requires actual malice and a reckless disregard for the truth. But he just admitted on camera that I am thorough and good-hearted. Maybe that's why he wanted to remove that video from the internet, according to the YouTuber who released it.
The only issue that was ever communicated was remove this crypto stuff, remove this CryptoZoo stuff. If CryptoZoo is in there, if Coffeezilla's in there, I'm not going to promote it.
Yeah, remove that CryptoZoo stuff, that Coffeezilla stuff. Doesn't look good when you compliment the guy you're trying to sue. Maybe that's why Logan isn't even suing me for my original investigation at all, despite most of this lawsuit being a ridiculous fanfic about how I took Logan out of context, that Logan was a victim, that I withheld text messages. Logan isn't suing me for any of the original investigation, though, because he knows he can't. Instead, at the end of the lawsuit, we find what my defamation really is. I'm being sued for 2 videos and 1 tweet where I advocated for refunds. For the victims. Yes.
Okay. I'm trying to figure out where the defamation is here.
Yes, you heard me right. Logan Paul sued me after I tried to get his fans, the CryptoZoo investors, a full refund. Remember, there are 2 parts to CryptoZoo, the NFTs and the Zoo tokens, and Logan chose only to refund the NFTs, which is a minority of the losses, and I had a major problem with that. I told Logan this. I've stated over and over my opinion that it is disappointing for someone as rich as Logan to not make things fully right, and instead only...
Right there. You know, it's kind of easy to perceive these guys as like, oh, well, they're just so rich. Well, why can't they just solve world hunger? Blah, 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 blah. This is kind of one of those scenarios where it's like, yeah, okay, fine. You know, so he's not going to solve world problems, but he can solve a problem he created. I just don't understand why, like the good publicity that would have came from that, because this would have been a totally different video.
Only pay back a small part of the losses.
And I think that would have given him some goodwill, but this is going to just damage him even further. And then seeing what's happened in the last 3 weeks since this video was released,
while fighting the rest of the victims in court.
We'll get
and
to
it's
it.
those videos and tweet where I ask for refunds, which I'm being sued for. The first video in question is about Logan Paul not paying out refunds for 6 months. The second video was about Logan's partial refund, having a clause to make sure you couldn't sue him for the rest of your refund. And the tweet, I simply said, Logan's the type of guy to thank you for exposing a scam and block you when you remind him to pay up. I mean...
You know what? These guys will probably never sponsor me. If they do, that'd be pretty cool. But Philbert's root beer, it's the best.
Yeah, now he's the type of guy to then sue you. Now, I'm sure Logan doesn't like it when I say things like Logan's victims or Logan's scam, but I have a question. If they're not Logan's victims, whose victims are they? Even Logan admits they are victims. He told me via text, just thought we had the same goal of helping victims instead of a divisive social media war. So he agrees people have been wronged by his game. You know, the thing that he said will earn you money.
It's a really fun game that makes you money.
So how are these not Logan's victims? He, of course, would say it's his business partner's fault. But remember, Jake and Eddie have been out of the picture for years. And yet, CryptoZoo hasn't been released, despite Logan constantly promising it, and of course, also threatening to sue me.
We're gonna handle this ourselves while we continue to build CryptoZoo, and I'll see you in court. By the time this comes out, it'll be done. The game's gonna be made. You're gonna have the opportunity to get your money back if you want, if you don't want to play the game. And I'm gonna take care of the people who made.
I'm pretty sure that this was all in 2022. CryptoZoo still really didn't come out in its full form.
It looked like this was a scam perpetrated by me.
Right.
I hope at some point he does show in this what it was, because I either that or I'll clip it in from his old video, but it's ridiculous because the way he described it, it'd be like cool creatures, kind of like Pokemon, in the vein of Pokemon, but then it just turned out to be the most disappointing, like, stock images.
Hey, Logan wants to sue me and release a finished CryptoZoo game, but he's only done one of those. Since Logan can't blame his partners, Jake and Eddie, for this because they've been out of the picture, do you think he'll take accountability for not launching CryptoZoo? No. This time, he blames the government. He says releasing CryptoZoo has too many regulatory hurdles. Maybe they should have thought of that before multi-millions of dollars of
What?
zoo tokens and eggs were sold. And now Logan would rather blame the government than take accountability.
Wait a minute. Okay, so the regulatory hurdles, we're talking like Kickstarter stuff here. How could you not have seen some of this coming? How could you wouldn't look into that before you start determining whether you can even release a crypto project to like the wider masses or to the wider market?
Or if you let him keep talking, Logan might rant about internet reporters having too much responsibility.
Meanwhile, this asshole's on a freaking private jet.
These internet journalists, internet investigative reporters have way too much responsibility on their hands that is being mismanaged and wielded in a really inappropriate way.
It's honestly funny to watch this guy whine about his problems, which you can barely hear over what sounds like a private jet.
What sounds like it.
Which brings me to another.
Yo, I'm not trying to brag or nothing, but like, just because of a job I used to have, I've been on a plane like that, and I can tell you right now, that was a private one.
Other problem Logan has. Part of any defamation case is damages, and proving someone has harmed your reputation. But isn't Logan richer than ever with Prime? And did he have a reputation to harm?
I guess that was a little bit of a flex, but it wasn't because of money. Legit, it was kind of one of those, like, I had to get from point A to point B, and I just happened to be with this, like, overly rich person that was just like, come on our private plane. Me and my dad looked at each other just like, okay.
His lawsuit shows comments
no.
calling Logan a scammer, possibly to suggest he's been hurt by my videos, but you have to have a reputation to lose one. And by the time of my reporting in question, Logan Paul was already accused of participating in multiple crypto pump and dump schemes. That article does not reference my work. So Logan had already had a reputation as a scammer before my investigation.
It's almost like, you know, these guys with tons of, like, their audience is full of younger viewers that they just, all right, this is all alleged, and I'm not accusing anybody of doing this, but allegedly, and from what I'm seeing, it's almost like they're taking advantage of their younger viewers, and that the more that their viewers grew with them, the more they kind of groomed them into being little consumers of products and schemes that they developed themselves.
At least if you
Audience grooming, that should be a new thing that we look into.
believe their allegations. So this lawsuit from beginning to end is groundless, meritless, frivolous, and Logan knows that because behind the scenes, in clips he didn't want to get out, he's saying I'm thorough and good-hearted. But in public, he wants to sue me, silence me, and cost me money, because that's the one department where we both know he's got me beat. We might have facts, we might even have evidence, but he's got all the money
He's got
and the
all money in
lawyers.
the world. Yeah.
And this is
Although, from my understanding, there is a legal team, the Eagle team, that is jumping in to defend him.
where I have to get to my one embarrassing mistake in all of this. See, my defense against rich people like Logan Paul is media insurance, you know, for frivolous lawsuits. So when I was sued, I immediately called my insurance company to file a claim, so I wouldn't have to pay for it. But they told me they're not going to pay. They're trying to get out of covering us, using lawyers and fine print. It's a long story that I will be explaining on my second channel because insurance underwriting is very...
Oh, that's good to know. I thought Voidzilla was a fan channel. Okay. Yeah, subscribe to Voidzilla, because that is his secondary channel where he apparently can talk about some more of the stuff in depth.
very boring. But suffice to say, I got Dylan Danist. I may have even gotten scammed. I'm not quite sure. For now, the bottom line is...
Okay, well, I'm glad that he went through that, because with me starting this, I wasn't necessarily sure if that was something that I needed to look into. I did look into the terms of service with YouTube. I actually read that. That took me half a day to sit there and process it and just be like, okay, this is where I can't mess up. This is what I can do. This is where I can't. But yeah,
we have to fight Logan with our personal funds, which means I need to ask for your support.
Yeah.
If you want...
I was going to see that coming. Damn it. Well, I support supporting this.
Want to help and are able to help, there are two ways to contribute to our fight against Logan Paul. One, you can join our Patreon, which supports the channel. Or you can buy exclusive merch at Coffeezilla.store, where we just released the Coffeezilla defense drop. That's right. Life hands you lawsuits. You get rejected by your...
Well, I might be buying one of those shirts. Might catch me on stream with that pretty soon.
Insurance,
Gotta help my boy out.
make merch. So here's the deal. These shirts will be available for pre-order for only the next
cool
14
shirt,
days.
though.
And 100% of profits we make from selling them will go to this lawsuit. If for some weird reason there's money left over, it will be dedicated to future legal costs for this channel. I just want to let you know they're available, and it's a cool way to support the lawsuit while also getting something in return. I didn't want to just set up a GoFundMe. So if you want to do that, just know pre-orders take a few weeks to get done because we make them after you order. And remember, you have 14 days. And you can get that at coffeezilla.store. I'll link that
I think this came out 3 weeks ago, so not sure if those are available anymore.
below. It's coffeezilla.store. All right, now we're going to shift gears and talk about the final part of this lawsuit. Why did Logan Paul sue me now? It's been over a year since he apologized and thanked me.
Thank you, Coffeezilla. I am very grateful for your work and your investigation.
I have to say excuse me for that one, and you didn't even hear it. But excuse me.
And I mean that. Thank you, bro.
It might seem strange, but I've got some fun facts for you that may or may not be related. Did you know 6 days before the lawsuit, I had featured Logan Paul in a teaser for a video? Did you know 21 hours before the lawsuit, I had texted Logan for comment? Did you know I told him he had 24 hours to respond, and Logan sued me 3 hours before the deadline? Yep, that's right. Logan's lawyers then threatened
Dirty. What? So he was... Oh, man, it's almost like they put it in their phone, just like...
me in that
To make
lawsuit
sure the
email
timing
that if I
lined up.
report on this new story,
That's-
Logan might hold me
dude, that's
accountable. And Logan's
That's
definition
bad.
of accountability seems to mean he'll sue me, which is why I believe this lawsuit was not designed to win, but to shut me up,
Yeah.
to threaten me, using Logan's wealth and a federal court system without anti-slap to send a message. Do not tell that story. Of course, I don't believe that's the only
Yeah, and that explains why this is the last video for 3 weeks. I think that he had to go radio silent until this is litigated, which that could hurt him just by itself.
reason I was sued. Clearly, Logan wanted to sue me for a while, but I believe this new investigation played a role in pulling the trigger. Maybe Logan's team will deny this. Maybe they'll say it's coincidence they sued 3 hours before a deadline. Maybe it's coincidence I announced a story about Logan 6 days before, and maybe it's coincidence that Logan's lawyers threatened me about this new story while suing me for the last story.
Very interesting. Ooh. I kind of like those glasses. It's got like the square rim and the clear. Ooh. I might want to try something like that cuz I mean, I like my glasses now, but those are cool.
that I hadn't discussed in 6
Ugh, I hate to admit that
months. But I don't think so. Either way, when someone threatens new
Again?
reporting in a lawsuit about old reporting, the effect is the same. So, what was this new story? Well,
I even have to admit that Pikachu is cool. Ah!
it's partly about a Canadian law enforcement investigation, and it's partly about something I told Logan to help him. Yes, believe it or not, I tried to help Logan Paul. To explain, we need to go back to when CryptoZoo first got exposed. Logan said he was going to sue me, but got backlash. So he called me to apologize. He said he was wrong and wanted to make things right. I made it clear refunds are the absolute right move going forward, and to my surprise, he agreed. 100%, man. We're on the same page. But we weren't. Logan now doesn't use the word refund. He calls this a buyback. But at the time, I need you to understand, I thought Logan was going to announce a full refund, so I began trying to help him. And dare I say, I was even nice to the guy. You can see
Like again with there's such a like difference between his text conversations with Coffee and then what he actually like what he said in filing the suit. It really does seem like his legal team got to him and was just like, nah, dude, or somebody did, where they were like, no, this is going to cost you too much,
that I tried to offer people who might be able to trace
or somebody too much. Like, I don't think this would have costed Logan that much, but somebody in his peripheral.
blockchain damages
Or
to
periphery.
refund people. And in the same spirit, I made Logan aware of potential problems at a different company he co-owned called Liquid Marketplace.
On a platform that I co-founded called Liquid Marketplace. It allows co-ownership of top-tier assets. So instead of one person, me owning this card, we as a collective can co-own it together.
This was a
Yeah, you what? Oh, come on. Hey guys, I got this thing. You see this? You see this? This is a Gundam. It's a real grade Gundam. It's one of the best mini Gundams you can get. Now, what I want to propose is that you guys send me $5 each, and we could each own $5 of this Gundam. What? Like, what? How does that make any sense for something that's tenable, like a collectible, where it's like Somebody has that collectible. So are you saying that it's just based on the purchase or like the sale price of said collectible? So it becomes essentially the fine art market where you're just like, well, this X-Men #1 from 1990 that had 7 million printed, this thing is still worth, $15 million. Let's go. That seems fishy, dude.
Fractionalized collectible platform where Logan sold things like roughly half of a $5 million Pokemon card. The idea was you could buy tokens that represented partial ownership in rare collectibles. That video, by the
I want to make the money he does so I can break open one of those boxes.
way, got 8 million views, and a lot of people bought into this platform. The problem was I had heard troubling stories about this company, and I was trying to verify if the claims were true. So I had gone to the CEO, Ryan Bahadori, to ask him questions, but he kept dodging meetings. And I don't mean he refused meeting with me. I mean, we would set up meetings and then he did not show up. So I was troubled. And I brought this up to Logan. I figured if he's going to make one company right, make them all right. Otherwise, it might come back to bite him. I mean, can you imagine the disaster if another one of Logan Paul's co-founded companies was discovered to have scammed his fans? Hypothetically, that would be a very bad look. So I'm thinking, while he refunds CryptoZoo, Logan can push the CEO to talk with me, and I can figure out the truth. Maybe Logan can fix it if there's something wrong. And you can see Logan responds to me. He says, gonna push Ryan to talk to you. Again, appreciate it, man. Now, I don't hear back from Ryan or Logan about this, so after a while, I follow up again. I say, let me know if Ryan plans on talking. A lot of nasty stories still out there about Liquid Marketplace, embezzlement, etc., and he's dodged meeting me already once. Now, obviously, the most shocking part of this is the word embezzlement. I need to make it clear. This is not an accusation. I am not accusing Logan Paul or Liquid Marketplace of wrongdoing.
This is all alleged.
Wait,
Covering my butt too. This is all alleged.
In our texts because it is my job to investigate unverified claims. That's the whole point of me wanting to meet with the CEO, but I was stonewalled. Logan never replied, despite me reminding him again via email 5 months later that I wanted to talk to Ryan about, quote, embezzlement and, quote, potential fraud. Once again, not accusing anyone of wrongdoing. I'm simply doing my job at the time to chase down rumors and unverified claims. Without concrete proof, I would have never talked about any of this. But on June 19th, 2024, things changed because the Ontario Securities Commission revealed a Liquid Marketplace investigation where they accused Liquid Marketplace of being a multi-layered fraud, taking in $2.7 million from the sale of these fractionalized collectibles. The platform allegedly did not do exactly what it promised. Some of the blockchain tokens did not even mint. But even worse was the allegation that approximately $3 million was misappropriated from $10 million they raised of investors.
Wait a minute. So they were selling unminted Bitcoin? I don't understand how that works.
For funds. This is a very similar claim to the one.
I mean, is it just like they paid USD and then we're hoping that this would mint and then just show up? You could explain that to me because honestly, like I kind of avoided crypto, so I'm not really adverse in it. So
one I had tried to verify. Ryan Bahadori, the guy I tried to speak to, was accused of, quote, making hidden payments to shell corporations without any legitimate business purpose, as were 2 other of the founders. And Ryan was accused of, quote, using company
hiding money.
Credit cards.
Is there a pending bankruptcy coming? Because this is kind of what happens when you have a pending bankruptcy coming.
To buy high-end fashion, expensive jewelry and watches, personal health and luxury spa services. If only there was someone who could have investigated this sooner. Now, it is really important to say Logan Paul is not accused by the OSC. Only 3 of his co-founders and his company is. But given the history, I had questions. After all, Logan's promotional video about Liquid Marketplace is still up. And the reason many people cared about Liquid Marketplace at all was arguably Logan Paul. So here were my questions. And as I read this, it's important to correct.
Do you know how many kids have no idea that this is going on, but they're going to get shell-shocked when, the next project that they want to buy into, if their parents are, I have a feeling that not enough parents are online with this kind of stuff, this is the type of shit that they really should look into when they hear that their kid is like super into somebody, look into them, do a little bit of a dive because, you might be surprised. So many Andrew Tate guys would not have just been there. They would have been turned on to Andrew Tate because their parents would have been like, what did this guy just say? But so many parents now just don't give a shit. They're just like, my kid listens to this Andrew Tate guy, this Logan Paul guy, whatever. They're just so into this Logan Paul skibbity toilet, whatever.
I say Liquid Marketplace got accused of embezzlement.
I still don't know what that is.
Technically, the OSC alleged misappropriation of funds. Those are similar. They're not.
I'm glad I don't have kids.
Not the same, so I wanted to correct that. But here's what I asked. Quote, did you take any
And I mean
action
that, by
on
the way.
hearing these allegations over a year ago? Did you get approached by the Ontario Securities Commission? And is it true that Liquid Marketplace lied about their claims of insurance, appraisals, and co-ownership as the Ontario Securities Commission alleges? You can see I gave him 24 hours to respond on June 26th at 2:03 p.m. And I was promptly sued June 27th at 11:28 a.m. with roughly 3 hours to spare. Now I want to be clear. I don't know the answers to the questions I sent.
Is this being litigated in Canada?
Maybe Logan secretly whistleblew to the OSC
Because I
when
know
I
there's
first
like
went to him.
there
I don't
are
know.
Ontarios
That's why you ask
in
questions as a reporter.
America,
But now the story is not about those questions. It's about why I was sued immediately after asking them and threatened if I reported about Liquid Marketplace in a way they didn't like. This is not how I wanted this story to come out because there's still so much we don't know and so much I can't say now for legal reasons. Maybe Logan's totally innocent. Maybe he surrounded himself with scumbags who defrauded his
Yeah, but this has 6 million views, so
fans. Maybe he'll do a refund for this project. I don't know because I never got the chance to find out. I tried to investigate, but I was stonewalled and sued when I asked questions. Make no mistake though, this investigation is still ongoing and you can reach me at the email below if you were affected. I will release my full investigation when it's appropriate because even if Logan doesn't want to answer questions, it doesn't mean I have to stop asking them. So in summary, Logan's lawsuit is not about my original reporting into CryptoZoo. Even if you take this lawsuit on its own without context, it's an argument over Logan not refunding victims in full. It's Logan insisting he's not to blame. It's all his business partner's fault. But I don't think that aligns with the publicly known facts. That's my opinion. For years, Logan has controlled CryptoZoo, and yet the game is still not out. Logan is now blaming the government for that instead of himself. And he also blames me for losing his good reputation, but you can't lose something you never had. Not to mention, Logan is arguably richer than ever, and he's on the record finding my reporting thorough and good-hearted. So this defamation lawsuit feels frivolous.
I mean, just one of his revenue streams is more than any of us will ever see. So this is the disgusting crap that, you know what? Yeah, this is the disgusting crap that I see from rich people that I just don't understand, where at some point they lose the ability to differentiate between something that will cost them in the long run and then the quick dollar. And then on top of it, they will sit there and try to protect all these profits. But realistically, what, you're going to die with all this and still man, that's one thing that I took from, good old church school was that, yeah, rich people won't be going to heaven. So just keep that in mind if you're a believer.
Even on the surface. But if you dig deeper, there's an even more compelling story, which I personally believe, where the goal is to crush new investigations while taking revenge on old ones. In this version, Logan might not even care about winning. Legal battles are expensive, and in the world of money, he's got me beat. So he can try to silence me by weaponizing the law. He can sue me for doing my job. He can sue me for asking questions.
Yeah, but isn't there something for frivolous lawsuits or even he could probably countersue for damages.
And he can sue me for asking for refunds. But it's going to backfire because I think it reveals Logan as a bully rather than someone who's truly sorry. Because Logan may be a master at convincing people he's changed, but I'm convinced it's the follow-through where things go wrong. The actually changing part. There was a time where even I believed Logan was going to fully refund victims. That's why I was so nice to him and tried to help despite him threatening to sue me. But when it came time to pay up, Logan chose a minority refund and to fight the rest of
$2.3 million out of $18 million, and this guy's probably worth $1 billion.
the victims in court who wanted their money.
Even more,
And when I
maybe.
complained about that, Logan went from sorries and thank yous to lawyers and I'm suing you real
So-
quick. The irony is, it was that same initial belief in Logan's capacity to change that also made me bring up Liquid Marketplace to help stop potential problems. And yet here we are. That company is now accused of being a multi-layered fraud by the OSC. And the CEO, who I tried to talk to multiple times, is alleged to have misappropriated money. This is despite me trying to talk to Logan directly many times as he asked.
Maybe we could have talked about this if you had reached out to me personally, not my manager, Jeff, who is not me, Steven.
Well, I did try to reach out personally, and I got sued and threatened a day later.
Yeah.
That, I think, says a lot about Logan's supposed change and his belief in accountability. Maybe the person he really believes in accountability for is not himself, but me, specifically when I try to get accountability from him. If you want to support this lawsuit, the best way is Coffeezilla.store. You have 14 days. Or you can support on Patreon. Thank you for listening, and have a nice day.
So that was the first part of a 2-part series on Logan Paul. So look out for the second video coming up here in a little bit. I really appreciate you checking out my channel. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers, so I really do appreciate it. I'll see you guys in the next one.